My name is Isaac Faisal Mohamed, and my colleague is
Mohamed Mohamud Omar.
And our project title is Evaluating Recycled Fine Concrete Aggregate as a Fill Material for Pavement Subgrade in Kenya. The contents are, first, we go through the background information, problem statement. Thirdly, we go to problem justification, objectives, and finally, scope and limitation. On the background information, infrastructure roads, to be precise, is an essential tool for Kenya to be able to achieve its Vision 2030 development plan. The construction of roads will facilitate the movement of goods and people from one location to another in a timely manner and overcome the friction of geographical space efficiently. Roads are constructed in 4 different layers: the subgrade layer, the subbase layer, and the base layer and the surface layer. As you can see, the cross-section of the road on our right-hand side. Black cotton soil is found abundantly in most regions of Kenya. It is therefore used in highway construction as a material for subgrade and the subbase layer. It's inorganic, expansive soil characterized by high plasticity index, low bearing capacity, high compressibility, and shrinkage and swelling. The shrinkage and swelling process causes leads to failure of the pavement, heavy settlement, heavy depression, cracking, and unevenness, moisture content.
Yeah.
So due to this limitation, its engineering properties are replacing, blending, or stabilization. Okay, as a result of the high cost of stabilizing material, for example, lime, it is therefore recommended to replace using green material, for example, recycled fine concrete aggregate that are locally available at a lower cost to reduce the cost of construction and as well as reduce the environmental hazards they cause. After demolition of the old roads and buildings, the removed concrete is often considered worthless and disposed of as demolition waste. By collecting used concrete and breaking it up, recycled fine concrete aggregate is created. So the reasons for increased concrete volume wastages are: one, the increased demolition of structure, which has exceeded the economic life. As you can see here on our right-hand side, we have a demolishment of an existing structure in Mombasa County. Secondly, the demand for new structures which are better in terms of capacity and aesthetics. The research on use of the recycled concrete aggregate as a road construction material has been widely researched. However, there's limited study on the test conducted and geographical gap. There's a research conducted by Zhang, Ding, and Peng in 2020 in China on the recycled concrete aggregate. The test conducted by Zhang were the compaction test, the aggregate crushing value, and Los Angeles abrasion test. The tests to be carried out in order to satisfy all the engineering properties of RCA as a material for road construction are, so we did more tests. The tests were the specific gravity, the California bearing ratio, the particle size distribution, and the Atterberg limit test.
For problem statement, civil engineers are faced with the practical problem raised by the use of black cotton soil as a construction material for subgrade. Also, the cost of construction of roads has continually been increasing. Therefore, the need to reduce the cost of construction. There has been an increase of environmental pollution caused by demolition waste. Sources of subgrade materials such as quarry pit contribute to pollution and destruction of the environment in an aesthetic sense. The problem justification: infrastructure is a key tool for the country to be able to achieve its Vision 2030 development plan. There's also been an increased demand for transport network to be carried in previously remote areas in order to spur economic growth in the country. Also, overdependence on the utilization of industrially manufactured soil improving additives, for example, lime, cement, and others, has consequently kept the cost of construction of stabilized roads financially high. There's also been an increase of environmental pollution caused by demolition waste. This calls for an effective solution to control demolition waste by using it in road construction, while at the same time help to mitigate the effects of pollution on the environment. The main objective of the research is to evaluate the effectiveness of recycled fine concrete aggregate as a fill material for pavement subgrade in Kenya. The specific objectives are: number one, to analyze the physical properties of black cotton soil and recycled fine concrete aggregate, to determine the mechanical properties of recycled fine concrete aggregate as a fill material for subgrade, and lastly, to identify the optimal recycled fine concrete aggregate and evaluate the applicability of subgrade filled with recycled fine concrete aggregate materials. Limitation: the main scope of this research narrows down to laboratory tests to determine the suitability of recycled fine concrete aggregate on the strength and index properties for subgrade purposes. The main limitation so far we have encountered in the early stages of this research was time. Thank you. I think we are done.
We are done.
Okay, that's okay. Thank you for that, such a quick one. 18, 16, 18, 21. How much is that? 5 minutes. That's okay.
5 minutes.
That's okay. All right. Before I ask the questions, I would like to ask you, what do you feel about your project?
So far, we feel good. So we've got so much to do at the moment. It's the first stage, but we take the challenge. We take it as positively. So
One
it's a
step
good
at a time.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the gap with your work?
So at the moment, the research was on recycled fine concrete aggregate. So the main gap is like the tests that were carried out. So most of the journals that we read, the literature review that we did were done in other countries. So what we did is we are taking it in our country, Kenya, and we are doing more tests. Let's just say, for example, this researcher, he did it on China soil. And the tests that he did were like, let us say, the compaction, the aggregate. So we have to do like all the tests. We are doing like all tests.
I think I might have misled some people there. Not misled, in quote. When I did the other presentation, I said you can have a problem statement based on geographic location. But I remember quickly I said, let me not focus on that because I didn't want to, it might apply to, and I give specific scenarios. Now, there are research or areas whereby it's unique for a certain area. But now when you talk of, in the construction, when you talk of concrete class 25, so we classify it based on the strength, right? So you class 25 of concrete in Kenya, in China is the same, the strength wise. Okay. The soil, when you talk of black cotton soil, if it's classified as black cotton soil, right, it should be the same ideally. Otherwise, it's another material, okay? So geographically, I don't think it's adequate to have that as a problem still. But let me also ask you, how do you want to use this recycled concrete aggregate?
We want to use it as a fill material. For example, there has been research to stabilize the black cotton soils.
Okay, okay, good. The idea you have is what I had previously, and even now when you are saying it. But when you go through this, you are saying the test conducted were compaction test, Ross Aguirre's abrasion test. These tests are conducted on what? What kind of material?
On coarse aggregate.
Exact. And that's why I told you, because recycled concrete aggregates have been used. Recycled concrete aggregate have been used. I said focus on the fines. So in the rubble, when you get this, like the building which have collapsed, and I don't know now whether you have, you got that, so that, because I wanted you now to investigate, because it's obvious. The aggregate themselves have been recycled, they have been used, they have been investigated in concrete. Now I wanted to see in terms of fine, now the fine. You know the fine we are talking of, like SAD from 5 millimeter and below, or even 4.75 and below. We are talking of using the fines to stabilize soil. So there will be like soil by soil to soil in terms of the gradation, in terms of size aspect. You get it? And that's why you see the test here. The tests that were conducted, the other one was aggregate crushing value, compaction test. Of course, compaction, you can also, that one you can do it in normal soil. But ACV and AA test, yeah. So basically this one for coarse aggregates. So now I was wondering, and this is where I wanted your gap to come from, not specifically, not necessarily from geographical issue. I say geographical, and the good example that I found was making sense. People investigating like genetics based on some area, and somebody was talking of geographical issue. He was talking of, this was in science, I mean medicine. He was talking of the baboons or the extinction. He was investigating extinction of some species, and then he was talking of the mountain gorillas that are in Congo forest. Now he wanted to compare, or like the research was trying to compare that with somewhere else. I don't know where they have gorillas. And then he was looking at the genetics based on geographical location. So that one was making, it was a good starting point. But this one here, I realized, if you just take a research that was done in China, and then you say it have not been done in Kenya, unless now you come specifically, like there are people who have been doing issues with Darugo quarry dust. So the uniqueness of that, right? They want to see the uniqueness of that quarry dust on that geographical area, because they were talking of the geological formation of the rock in that area. But a study, now here, somebody may ask, what makes it different being done in China? And now you are saying that's a gap. that you want to do it in Kenya, what makes it unique in terms of geographical issue? What was special in China different from Kenya? You see, because you have not told us or stated the material aspect, or maybe the material there, but again, you have to justify to us that the rock formation in China, the area they used was different. So you want to test maybe from volcanic. This one was sedimentary, and I don't think that's what you wanted to investigate. So my thinking in your research, the gap would have been, or would be, I have not studied because I gave you an idea. I wanted you now to read papers, whether there have been a paper which I've used. And I don't know whether this paper in China was using it as fine aggregate. You have said no.
No.
It's coarse aggregate.
Coarse aggregate. Now look whether there is a paper which have used it as fine aggregate. And that's why now when I was telling you, with it being as fine aggregate, you can be able to do this, the Atterberg limits, because those one are conducted on soil. You can be able to do this, the California bearing ratio. You can be able to comfortably do the compaction test. In fact, I'm wondering, this compaction test that was done by this researcher, I would like to read this paper. Was it done, compaction test on coarse aggregate?
It was on coarse aggregate, sir.
Compaction test. So this gap, and then read there. I know you are a graduate. Of course, you have to finish on time. And again, we are introducing you to research. So I might not push you much, but it also helps to show people that you are learning. Yeah, by showing us that you have read, and from what you read, you've been able to identify a small gap. Maybe if you read many papers, you might find people have also dwelt on that, but not into so much detail. So show us the paper. It's good, this one you have shown, and you told us what they did, but also another one, that whether there is another one, or because that will be your gap if you cannot be able to find somebody who did. And you not finding it does not mean not looking in the net, because the first thing I said, once you have your idea and the topic, put it in the internet. Just type the keywords or the whole statement. If you don't get a lot of research, remove some text, then narrow down to see. You are talking of recycled concrete aggregate, and then you try to see what have been done in terms of stabilizing soil. Okay, let's go to the starting, because I know we don't have much time. But I would like, before we go further, Keith and Jude, did you follow this presentation?
Yes, we did.
How does it compare to your presentation? Because whatever I have here, it's just a whole paragraph continues in one slide. Yeah. So I wanted you to look at, I mean, this is a good one for a start. Of course, it can be improved. Like when you go to the problem statement, is it problem statement or justification? Mohammed, if you can go to problem justification.
Okay.
I still believe this sentences, the other slide.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
This slide, you know, infrastructure is a key tool for the country development plan. I think you can summarize it in just a single, as few words, right? So that you can improve it here. But I like it because you have not put too many sentences in one slide. You've increased the font. I say the advantage of increasing the font is that it discourages you from putting a lot of information. But having this full statement, it makes the reader, I want to listen to you. But if you put, like, if you go to the previous slide, the problem statement, I believe. Yeah, here, this is a point form. This could be made into one sentence if you wanted to make your presentation look awkward, look weird. But you have put some few points there representing what you want to state as a problem, right? And your problem statement is bold, is broad, not bold. It's broad, very broad. Of course, many people want to go on the construction course. Many people who are doing this project, we are in construction, we are engineering. So mostly we are in structures, and we will be dealing with buildings and civil engineering infrastructure. So cost reduction might be the focus of so many people. But your focus is on black cotton soil. Yeah, the problematic black cotton soil due to swelling. And then you say, your issue is the problem with black cotton soil, and the existing stabilizing mechanism, maybe the chemicals and all that, either they are expensive or they are hazardous to the environment if they are chemicals and environmental issues. So I want you to follow from black. It's okay, I'm not saying it's wrong, but it should be like the key point coming up, unsuitability, and then why do you want to use alternative material? Because the existing material being used have got these challenges. It brings about the issue of ABCD. Okay, it's good the way it is, maybe. because whatever I'm trying to think out is what you have said here.
Exactly.
Again, when now these problem statement, these are points to guide you. When you are talking about this problem statement, and I'm going to share you this video, you can watch for revision. Maybe this one we might not post it because it's very at an early stage. But I can send you I'm copying it, I'm recording it in my desktop, so I can send you the file. Look at the time you are presenting this problem statement. You are kind of reading this point, but the points are to guide you, but it's you to give you to connect the statement. Yeah, connect that statement. All right, let's go to the start so that I can just make some brief comment. Maybe the first one is one I'm going to make a lot of comment, but the other one I just listen to them. Some of them, even the topics, I'm not quite comfortable. Evaluating recycled concrete aggregate. First of all, remove that abbreviation, RFCA. That one you are going to do it inside your document or inside your presentation, not here. This is title. And I like the way you are saying as a field material, because that's our focus. That's what the title is. So let's follow with the field material. Let's try to run away from the aggregate. It's like when you are talking of soil, when you are dealing with soil, if you're in soil mechanic, maybe you not be talking of aggregates. You'll be talking of fine, the classification of soil and even the gradation. Gradation. Well, you can mention aggregate, but well, let's move with field. Evaluating recycled. Instead of the word evaluating, the issue of evaluating, investigating, a study of, everyone is doing a study. So we could say performance of, that's just a suggestion. Performance of recycled, fine, recycled concrete fines. Recycled, I was looking at the way I can do away with aggregate, because once we mention aggregate, somebody may start thinking that we are taking the recycled aggregate, the cost aggregate, then we crash at what you could maybe simplify if you still feel this. I don't want to push you far away from your original thought. You can say performance of recycled concrete fine aggregate, because we are focusing on the fine part, fine aggregate. And you see the fines. Why I'm using the word fine is because it will be combination of SAD, the fine aggregate, and the hardened cement paste. Is it crushed?
Yes.
But the coarse aggregate will be removed. That was my thought. That's what you are thinking also, is it?
Yes.
So now that's why I'm trying to play around with this, so that we are clear. Performance of recycled
Concrete fine.
Yeah, concrete fine aggregate is a fill material for pavement subgrade. Again, remove the word in Kenya. I mean, what's so unique in Kenya? You can mention it later on. Yeah, people use this statement to run away, to hide with the problem statement, so that you can talk of geographical. I'm not saying it's bad, but with experience, we improve.
Yeah, okay. True.
All right. Then remove the full stop at the end, because this is a statement which are not sentences. We don't put the full stop. In terms of the quality of your presentation, I can say it's good for a start. It's good quality as a presentation. And I know you can tell me for sure you spent some time preparing. As I said, PowerPoint is an art. Yeah. You continue learning, improving it, depending with the audience. Like I tell you about the quality of PowerPoint presentation. If you look at the PowerPoint I gave you concerning how to get the research topic, it was so plain and blank. Because I was presenting, I was talking to you. But if you look at other presentation that I use for class teaching, I know you want the notes. Yeah, those are not the best quality presentation, because I have to put full sentences for students to read. But if you want to see this one and the presentation style, of course, now if you are going to present outside the academic world, like the way I gave you an example of, you saw how they were presenting the new M-Pesa app, the super app. The guy is presenting, standing in front of big screen, and behind him there are just slides moving. So when you go to, depending on who you are presenting to, you continue improving. So I said it's an art. But one thing you have to learn at this starting point is that PowerPoint is not sentences from Word document copied into PowerPoint application. So that's why I'm commending this one. And the other one, I'm also saying it's well done. Is Yedaiga Dennis Admina Gilbert. I think there is some good improvement for a start. Also for Jesse Murevi, I think it's quite well. I think you guys have done rather well. So that the first one is best, the second two are good, Then the person doing autogenous self-healing concrete, you have tried, but still some more improvement. So the one that needs rather to be worked on is the one by Keith and Jude. And you people, I like students who, and this one I ran in Japan, student helping one another. It's not a competition. So you can share this. If they want some improvement, you can share with them the slide. They are not going to copy your work. Of course, you are past the initial stage, where you are afraid your topic might be taken. But past this, you can be sharing your work and you improve. Because what I believe is that whatever we are doing now, it's not to score higher than the other who are not doing the practice, but it's for future. It's training you. It's kind of a training. I'm just hoping that you get something that you can move forward with, building your confidence even when you get to the field. All right, let's move to the second slide.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Usually don't read the content. Don't say the background information. You just say this is the content of my presentation. Then slide number 4. So before you move from the first one is okay. The first row, expansive soil, black cotton soil. The properties you have said they have high pI and all that is okay. So we need to stabilize. Why?
To improve its engineering properties.
What are those engineering properties that we want to achieve? You see, there's a gap. There is the gap. It have got low pI, low bearing capacity, high blah blah blah. I was expecting before you say stabilize, you say low bearing capacity, then they could have somewhere you are saying, because in the previous slide you have given us the cross section of the road, and now you are focusing on the subgrade. Then tell us what are the requirements according to the maybe road design manual or the Kenya road design manual. Get those standards. And then say these are the requirements for the subgrade. And black cotton soil maybe cannot be able to achieve this CBR or this value and so on and so forth. That's why we need to stabilize. So I believe between the second box and the third box, it could make more sense. So even before you come to why we use the recycled, it's good. From stabilizing, you can talk, you say, that's when now you say materials, the available materials. That one you don't have to put it here. You can say the available material for stabilizing, either they are expensive or blah, blah, whatever, or the depletion of natural resources. That's why we use recycled. We look for recycling. But here there is that gap. There is a missing link there. The reason why do we need to stabilize? Because we can either use black cotton soil with low pI, we stabilize it, we improve. So what? For what purpose? Or you get me. Again, I found the word use of the word green. The word green, the word eco, been so much misused. So you can find a way of fast removing that one. I'm not saying it's bad, but anyway. And the word green is so broad, as I was explaining in the other presentation. Then you need to check the animation of the arrow, the white arrow there. Can you go to slideshow for that specific slide?
Yeah.
Or you noticed that?
Yes.
If you noticed,
yeah, we noticed it. Yeah.
Okay, so you need to check that. So you need to show the standards for the subgrade material, and that's why you need to improve to achieve those.
Should we include it in the slides, or we can just?
Yeah. What you can do already, I've told you to remove this part of use of green material. Okay. So you can remove that. You can remove that part. You can the one you are saying stabilize. The last box on the top row can move down. Then at the space you get, that's where maybe you can put some table, or even you can continue. You know, you can play around with the animation. You put a table at the bottom here. You put a table. Usually you cannot see my cursor when I'm doing like this.
Yeah, but I think you're referring to someone.
Yes. You can put a small table showing the requirement so that you move from expansive. Maybe you're not even going to change to delete or to move that last box. But once you talk about black cotton soil and you say the properties, then there is like a small table that you have there showing the requirement, and that's why now that will come before the stabilization requirement. You know, just play with the animation. So if it will be the expansive soil will be animation 1, properties animation 2, then the table 3, then stabilization 4. Then you can conclude here with recycled fine concrete aggregate because of the available. But don't put so much material that information so that you start spoiling your slides. Which other slide? Yeah, the slide number 6, we said we need to improve the gap. The gap, remove the geographical issue, read there. And that one I want you to read and give me, I want to see that gap. I would like to see the gap. If there's somebody who have done it, then well and good, but we know it's been done that way, all right? We want to see it being used as fines. Tests to be done, I believe you can remove them there, because this is kind of, later on this one will come in methodology or in conceptual framework. So at this stage, don't put it in the problem statement. You can put it at the scope for now. You say this is what you are going to do, a laboratory test. Our study will be confined to laboratory test, because this kind of study, somebody might want you to go to the field to conduct in situ, like a density test. So the limitation of the scope is you're going to confine yourself, or the limitation is confine yourself. The scope is the test you are going to do. The limitation here, limitation, remove time and budget. That is a limitation for everyone. So the limitation here could be the scope. You put the laboratory test and all that, the test that you are going to conduct. The limitation you say you're not going to do in situ, the field or the field tests. You are going to, because already you have said the scope is about it. And then somebody if ask why not do a test on the field, they can go and do the side replacement test and all that. You say, first of all, we need a higher budget, and so that you can go to the field. Now the issue of time and budget counts, so it doesn't have to be put there. And then slide number 9, we said you look at the length of those sentences, how you can summarize them. Slide number 10. Now that we have looked at the performance, the objective, the overall objective is always very close to almost the same as the topic. So you can refine that. Instead of saying to evaluate to evaluate the effectiveness of using concrete aggregate, we talked of either you say concrete fine aggregate or recycled concrete fine as fill material. Yes. And then you can to investigate the performance. Okay, I think being an overall objective is okay. Being a specific objective is where we have the word SMART: specific, measurable, yeah, realistic, time-bound. To analyze the physical properties of black cotton soil and recycled fine concrete aggregate. I believe that one is okay. And remove the full stop at the end of this. These are not sentences. These are phrases. To determine the mechanical properties of recycled fine concrete aggregate as a fill material for subgrade. So what is the difference between this and the second part? The first objective is to analyze the physical properties of, I'm reading the second part, to analyze the physical properties of recycled fine concrete aggregate. And then the second one is saying to determine the mechanical properties. Oh, physical and mechanical.
Physical and yeah, 2 different properties.
No, that one should be put into the same objective. To analyze the physical and mechanical properties should be one objective. And then you talk of recycled concrete fines. Do you know why I'm not saying fine aggregate? I believe it's not, you're not totally wrong, but fines, because we said it will incorporate both the cement, hardened cement paste and the fine aggregate in form of SAD, if that's what it was used, right? Then to identify the optimal, so RIFCA, you have to know how you're going to abbreviate that once we remove the issue of aggregate, blah, blah, blah. And evaluate the applicability of subgrade feed with recycled fine concrete aggregate material. So the objective one is the physical, it's separate material. The objective 2 is combined and get the optimum. So what would be, you want to have 3 objectives. I'm saying like these are just 2 objectives. 2 objectives should be enough.
Is it okay? Yeah.
Should be enough, because the physical and chemical, because we are just looking at when they are separate, and then when you combine them. So once you combine, you're going to vary the ratio to get the optimum. Yeah.
Yes.
So 2 objectives should be enough. But now, as I finish that, the problem statement have to come out. I mean, the gap have to come out very clearly. The gap have to come out very clearly, right? That's what will justify your work. That's what you tell us. Whatever you are doing, for sure, it's worth investigating. And I'm saying, don't hide information. Even if it was done, let's at least have that in knowledge. Again, something I want other people to see. Can you share your chapter 1, the one you are sending to me?
Is it visible for chapter 1?
Yeah, it's okay. I don't know who is that, but I would like just scroll down as you Scroll down. So those kind of references you are putting there, that's okay. Okay, we are not yet at this stage, but I wanted to show people to see. Again, the pie chart, you cannot say the source is Google. Google is a search engine.
Wikipedia, yeah. It's supposed to be Wikipedia.
So not even don't get information from Wikipedia. It's not reliable. Wikipedia can change tomorrow. Wikipedia is like Kenyan politicians. You cannot quote them. So can you scroll down again? I want people to see the kind of work that you need to do I mean, when you start writing up your now proposal. This is like at proposal stage. You are moving to the proposal, writing a proposal. Okay. This kind of write-up with the, I'm not saying it's the best. I've not read it, but again, it's far much improved than, I mean, far much better than what I have received. There's somebody who just sent me a concept of about 3 sentences with no previous literature, because I said it's not about the literature review deep, but an overview. You want to see where your gap came from. You want to see that reference, like there are a reference you have there, 2 or 3 up there. Yes, we need to see these references here. Yeah, that's when the one will tell you that the idea you had, yes, this is the match that have been done on that area. Okay, but I'm going to read this one. I've not read it because it's not yet time for proposals.
Can we include the references on our slides, or is it not necessary?
During the proposal, okay, but put it, because people are different. People are different. Of course, at this stage, we are not awarding marks. This is just about approving your topic, this first presentation. But in other presentation, people want to see there, maybe they want to award some score. But even if when you put the references, even in future presentation, don't explain them. Just say, these are my references, because so that they don't eat your time. Okay. All right. I think that's that for that. So any question on you have concerning this work?
Yeah, we had a question on research hypothesis.
No, that one, forget about it. For social scientists, research hypothesis is like the questions. We have the null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Like, what are the physical properties of black cotton soil and recycled concrete?
So,
like, for example, these are the research questions, and that is the research hypothesis. So, for example, is the idea okay, or is there another way to write an hypothesis?
Yeah, like this is an alternative. You are suggesting, like, recycled fine concrete that is a suitable material. Yeah, that's a good hypothesis, because you can either have it null or alternative. Null, like you are negating. Alternative, you are assuming it could be the case. So these 2 parts, it's okay, you can put them, because people want to have a thick document, which I don't believe is an issue. But we do not focus so much with them in our department or in engineering. But I believe the way they are is okay. They are okay. Yeah. All right. Anything else? Then
is there a limitation on the number of slides to be presented, or
no, the slides number is not limited. But why I try to tell the student, because if you tell me you are going to present 60 slides in 5 minutes, it might not be feasible. So once you continue perfecting the art of PowerPoint preparations, you'll find like you can have many slides and still move within time. And again, people will not see like you are jumping, because you might find like the idea in the slide 1 is connected with the idea in slide 2. So you find somebody moving from slide 1, he moved to slide 2, but the same figure is appearing there. So he's not going to explain about it, but it's only for reference. So he can have many slides. So these 7 slides is okay for your work, but we don't limit, but time issue limits you. You don't want people to see like you are just jumping, flipping through your slides. You want them to understand. Okay. Question from the audience.
Yeah.
Keith, have you understood? Any question concerning their presentation, concerning question you have in your work, which you have seen it here, is included here or not included? You can ask now.
I've understood the presentation, and they've done a very good job. At least it's made me rethink what we have done as a group. Okay. So at least we know on what areas to improve.
So do you know you are the next one to present?
Yeah, no problem, no problem.
Okay, who else? Dennis Derito, any question or comment?
No, I'm okay.
Okay, you're okay. Then Jude. Jude, you are the same group with Keith, eh?
Yeah.
Where are the other? We are only one, two, three, four. We only 2 groups. Okay. You know, the issue is, if we don't meet today, then on it will be so unfortunate on Tuesday. I'll be the one shooting down your topic. Because like I thought these people come here. There's this guy I've kept on. We talked physically, we agreed very well. Jesse and Peter. We agreed very well, but now when they keep on sending me something that I don't agree, that one, then there is a topic I have never seen. These people were doing self-healing, and they are not here. Then this guy, I gave them this topic and I wanted them to refine it, but they are not here. So Keith, go ahead now, and I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly. It's Keith or Keith?
It's Keith, sir.
Okay. So share your presentation.
Is it visible?
Yeah, I can see it from this side. So you can see already this one is A4, yeah? This is like an A4 page, yeah?
Yeah.
So I don't want to, it's the first one, but I don't want to I can imagine if you just want to present like this, what people will say. Yeah, and then you say, you start saying you have been working with Gademba. And I'm one of the proponents of good quality presentation, because I also was challenged when I went to Japan and I did my first presentation. I was challenged by even undergraduate students. Okay, so there is a topic. We want to understand what you want to do. Go ahead.
Okay, so the title is Analysis of Concrete Field Single and Double Skin UPVC tubular beams reinforced with the mesh in flexure. So since we are doing the test in flexure, beams, the columns are not flexural members. I think it's only beams and slabs that are flexural members in a construction. So we decided to focus on the beam. Jude is my partner. I think now I can move to the background information. With the increased demand in construction project, we need to find a way to reduce costs and come up with structural materials that perform highly as well. So with this UPVC, the weight is lighter and the cost is lower than steel, and it's resistant to corrosion. And recently, we have seen these concrete filled tubes being used in high-rise buildings, and concrete filled double skin tubes have started being researched recently, and the reason being it's lighter than the single skin, and it's better resistance to fire and high ductility. The references down there are the research that have been done before, and that they are well stated down there. Is that okay, sir?
It's your presentation. We are timing you.
So with the problem statement, the problems we are addressing are high construction costs and weak structural members, which cause buildings to collapse, which we have seen in the past. This new method of making the concrete filled tubes and beams have proven to be stronger than the conventional methods. So the objectives, the study investigates the use of an UPVC tubes as a confining medium of composite concrete filled plastic tubes in flexure. So the study seeks to find out the action of bending or curving of plastic tubes horizontally in reference to structural performance of single and double skin filled UPVC beams subjected to loads. The research justification, I'll leave for my colleague to present on that. Jude.
Yeah, recently from from the researches that have been done before, we've seen that research on the concrete file plastic tubes, the analysis has been done in compression, and we felt that there was a gap that the previous researchers never checked on the flexure. So we thought it as a gap that we could find out, analyze it, and give a comparison between the two, that is the single skinned and the double skinned UPVC tubes filled with concrete. The scope of study, we have aimed at adding more information into already existing knowledge with regards to the concrete filled plastic tubes, with hope that we might shift from the conventional methods of construction and maybe get to use of the plastic tubes, save on the environment, since you know that the plastics are environmental hazards. Yeah.
Oh, that's all. But as we've already mentioned before, you've realized that you really need to work on the quality of your presentation.
Yes.
So let me not dwell on that. Let me go to the content. Let's go to the first slide. Of course, when you improve your presentation, when you make it into the proper PowerPoint, you don't include the Bachelor of Science. Those lines, you don't put them research in project. No. You just need to have a title and your names. Okay. The title, remove all the words in the bracket. All right. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes abbreviation is not allowed in the title, but in case where it's well known, if it's an abbreviation which is well known, it's allowed. And in this case, UPVC, it's common. So remove the words in the bracket and precise. So we have UPVC. Then now I'm thinking. Initially, I was thinking. I've not thought of a beam. I was imagining. Maybe I used the word which brought confusion, fracture, but I wanted to talk about, the short columns, they fail, by crashing. Yeah? But slender column, they fail by buckling.
By buckling, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted you to investigate. Because the essence of concrete confinement, or why do we confine concrete? Confine. Confinement of concrete, we want to introduce some pressure. It could be active or passive pressure, and in this case it's passive because we're using plastic confinement. So it's passive, it's not changing, it's just passive. And we want to enhance by containing the concrete. So I'm trying to see about the beams. It's an interesting one. You can look at it. Well, it gives you some result. What now I think might not be necessary per se is the BRC mesh. If you go to the beam, then you might need to remove the BRC mesh.
BRC mesh, yeah.
Reinforcement. What I was thinking could be interesting in columns. You see this, we have the problem. Because I asked you, what do you expect to be the problem statement? So I was thinking, you've seen the issue of concrete poles, the one that are being used by Kenya Power. So the Kenya Power one, of course, how is the loading? It's the adaptation from the tendons, what do you call it? From the cables. So the mode of failure would be the sway. So we are talking of bedding, or that bedding aspect of those kind of columns. Now, I don't know why Kenya Power is going back. You see, lately they have been going back to using Tiba, but you have a challenge with Tiba in Kenya. Yeah, the shortage. So we wanted to see, was there a problem? Like if we compare between an confined one, so that you are going to make, one double skin, but then you remove the pipes, so that you are just left with concrete. And that's why now I was bringing about, to provide the minimal reinforcement to control against cracking. That's why I was bringing about the issue of the BRC mesh. BRC mesh is like, if you get like A98, I think it's around the diameter of, is it 8 or 6? So it's like you are reinforcing with steel, marred steel rebar, but now in form of the mesh. Okay. But it's an interesting, because the good thing about research is I gave you an idea, I sent you to the field, think about it. So now beam is a totally different area, and I would like to be interested to find out, because in beam, the literature, the background you are giving, the two references you are giving, the one I give you, these are columns. So you need to give us the literature on beams, whether some people have done it. And then the issue is, what is the problem with the existing beam that you feel like the plastic confinement can provide? So this is a different area. I had not thought about it. I was in columns, you are in beams, but I don't want to say it's totally wrong. But now you have to show us, because the problem I was seeing with I know this the second researcher. This is who is this guy? Abraham Mengesha. He studied POW in PhD in POW, and he was continuing from my master's work. So I knew the problem I had in my work. Then he continued from there. That's why I wanted you to read there and see, because his research is a bit recent, so that we can see what next, what else can be advanced from there. Okay, it doesn't have to be much. So what I was thinking is, could we think of the type? Can the type of the plastic confining material have an influence? Also, I don't know whether he varied the thickness of the wall, versus the diameter. So we talk of the thickness diameter ratio, or I don't know up to what height he went. Did he cover slider columns? I believe he was focusing on, because he was saying performance of, I think, experimental infection of concrete columns, and then he was talking as being in, I think he was talking of compression, if I'm not wrong. His focus could be in, yes, he's talking behavior of double skin, blah, 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 tubular column at the axial compression load. So when he was talking of axial compression, I wanted to see, was he considering slider column? And my focus was, we are going, if we talk of slider columns, because I know the limitation in our lab, maybe we will still have to test the columns as they are beams, like they are lying, and then we apply the load on the side, so that we have the compression and bedding. Okay. Now maybe I'm losing you here. But we don't have much work. So remove the BRC mess. Maybe I don't want to take you away. It would be an interesting investigation. I would also like to see it. But we want to see what is the current problems, the beam, current beam that you feel like having confinement will help, right? Okay. And then in that case, maybe BRC might not be necessary. And then you're not doing analysis. Analysis, is the issue like of design. You're analyzing a structure. So you are telling us like you are going to calculate the bedding moment, the shear forces, the torsion and all that, and then you start doing the calculations. But here you are just investigating, or you are in performance of concrete field, single and double skin, UPVC, tubular beams, or tubular columns. So your work, because there's much remaining, can you try to find out whether you want to focus on beam or column, and prepare the PowerPoint presentation, then we meet on Monday.
Yeah, I think that would be better, because we just had yesterday to do this work, because we got the topic yesterday. That's why we've not been able to prepare something.
We can meet from 3:30. That's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
3:30.
3:30 is okay.
That's only for you. The others who did not come today, I'm not giving them that slot. So that's one I don't know what they want to do. Okay, improve, change that, change everything, because now I'm trying to correct things here, and I'm still don't know what to correct. Objectives, your objectives, can you go to the slide number 4? They should be itemized. Yeah, this seems like just a statement. It should be clear, and that's why you always find for most people, almost all people, you find like they have the main objective, which is directly related to the topic, and this, the specific objectives, maybe 2-3 of them. That should be enough for the graduate. Okay. So address that area. Then problem statement. The previous slide which you have just left. Problem statement is okay to start with, or the overall, the problem. But you can imagine all of us are in structures. We'll be coming from the area of the cost, the issue of the scarcity of materials. That might be a common issue, but we want to narrow down. It's good you can mention in broad way, but in a summary form, but narrow down to the issue of concrete confinement. That is your problem. And then you are narrowing down to the not concrete, concrete column. You are specific on concrete column, or you are specific on concrete beams. And now you can tell us the problem will be the existing scenario on the concrete column, the one you want to improve or replace or enhance. So you show us the existing of that specific, maybe now structural element, not the global problem. The global problem helps you. The global problem is from the background. Background information, chapter 1 is where we start from the existing global problem, then you narrow down like that. And that the problem statement comes after the background, because you have already described to us what is the existing problem, what is the bigger picture, and then you have narrowed down. At the time you are finishing at the background information section, already the reader have seen the problem that you anticipate to address, and with that, that's one of the problem statement you come and state it clearly, categorically, that the existing. You don't start again all the way from the issue of cost and all that, unless if that's your issue. If you are talking of the cost comparison, then it will be your specific, specific problem. So here, what I believe is that there is the concrete confinement that have been done currently, but there is something you feel is the gap. That's why you want to. So narrow down, get to that specific problem. This is a summary of what have been described in the background, but it's not the summary of the whole information from the first page to the last page. It's the summary, the concluding remark of the background information kind of directs you to the problem statement. Okay.
Okay.
Again, the same case is justification. Justifying your study is like telling us, not telling us like you're saying, there is the rate at which construction projects are coming up, there is need for innovative ways to make. Okay, okay, well, that one is a bit more better. But again, you can still be more specific. Like concrete confinement have been found to be a better way or a good way for enhancing the capacity of columns. And by doing this research, we anticipate A, B, C, D. Okay.
Okay.
Then scope. On the scope, can you go on the slide, the last slide, number 6? Remove the first sentence. The first sentence, the whole of first sentence. It's not the scope. The scope, like you are saying, the data is to be collected from lab, as this is where the fractional test will be done. Yeah, so the scope is that you be confined within the laboratory testing. It's an experimental design. Okay. Again, the time frame for this research is 6 months. Remove that part, because that is in, we are going to see that in proposal in what you call the work plan. Because the scope here, the scope tells us, if you want to get what is the scope. This research of viewers, you want to tell us the objective you are doing. To what extent do you anticipate to conduct your research? I mean, to what extent? Like we have said, there's somebody who might do laboratory work. There's somebody who might do laboratory work and go to the field. Okay. There is somebody who might do experimental work and go for numerical analysis. Okay. There is someone who might do analysis and do a model, prototype, or modeling in terms of physical model. So those are the scopes. Now the limitation are things that you think they could be done in this research, but for your case, you did not go to that step. So they are not out of the scope of your work because of they cannot be done. They cannot be covered in this research, but because you want to refine yourself, you want to concentrate on a certain area. And that's why I say that time and budget will always be the case. But instead of saying time and budget, and everyone knows that, why don't you give us that specific limitation that is tied to the budget or that's tied to time? Like we said, if you're doing, if you tell us we are not going to do numerical modeling, for those people who are doing experimental work, maybe structural analysis, then they say structural, maybe experimental work, they have the structural element like a beam, like you are doing the beam. Then you say you are not going to do to numerical analysis, only experimental work. Somebody will know you don't have the software. No, you not know. If he asks, then the issue of software can come in. Somebody doing the experiment can say it's only limited. You are not going to do field test. The people who are doing on soil stabilization. So that's why you find the scope and limitation, they tie one another. So your area of scope, saying you're adding the body of knowledge, everybody is doing that. If your research does not add the body of knowledge, then it's not worth investigating. Again, the other part is time frame. So improve this work, I would say, I just allowed you because it's being the first presentation.
Yeah.
We wanted to hear your topic, but in future cases, if we see a presentation like this, I will just say go and prepare a PowerPoint presentation. All right.
Okay.
That's all. Let's get a question. Maybe you have some question.
Well, maybe since we've gotten you, we've heard your point of view. Let's go back to the drawing board and do it once again.
Okay.
Then on Monday we can have something to discuss.
Okay.
Yeah.
But at this stage, for all of you who are listening, it's being the concept and we are looking at the topic. The key thing people are interested is there something, a small gap that you need to investigate? And the gap is not from what you have thought is existing, is the gap, but is what you think is the idea. Then you read, you have done an overview, a brief overview. Now I can even call it literature review because I have seen like somebody like Mohammed have started going that direction. So it's a literature review, or not detailed, but at least you have tried to see what is existing. Because again, you said an idea can come, but when you search for it, it's already been done. You don't stick with it. Like there was those guys who are wanted to do the issue of rubber concrete, and then the guy was sticking with it, but I told him, my friend, this was done even by your colleagues who graduated the other year, yeah, and I don't know where they went to. So it's an idea. Quickly you look at it. If there is a small gap, sometimes you might even get an idea. Then the literature you are getting, they have tried to touch that area, but there is just a small part, or they have not gone into detail, or it's a very current study that is ongoing. Then you can join the wagon.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So question from the members about this presentation, which you think can help you or can help them. Dennis, Delito, we are together still up to that point?
Yes, we are together.
You are ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
And then we have Mohammed. What do you have to say about this presentation?
So far, I think apart from the comments that you've made to them, I think they're good. There's room for improvement. Yeah.
You're just being lenient with them, being soft. You don't want to be crucified after this. You know, I like the way we had the interaction in Japan, because we used to have questions, serious questions from students, very serious. During the final presentation, they will not ask you questions, but during the progress presentations, they ask serious questions that help you to go and study. And if they don't understand, they will follow you in your desk after the presentation, and then they want you to explain to them. Yeah, and they were interested in your work. And by so doing, you help one another to improve. So, and that's how I always now try to encourage people to do here. Don't think like when you ask your student, the fellow student, the question, like you're putting them down. Help them. Of course, maybe during the presentation, we not allow that. But during our practice here, it's welcome to ask questions, even to criticize. Yeah. All right. So we are going to move. Okay. Anybody talking?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, concerning our proposal, we can either do the component or reflectional test in the lab. So the question is, does JKUAT have the infrastructure for both the tests?
That's what you need to find out. I said about the feasibility. You should have visited our structures lab by now. Yeah, you should go and see. There is the guy there. I think Ken is available, and you might be lucky. You might get Engineer Karobo there. Go and ask them. And there are people who even have a good connection. It doesn't have to necessarily be in our lab. Like people who are doing. Even last year we did that in the Ministry of Mining. They were doing a chemical analysis. Yeah. So they were investigating. They wanted to investigate what were the components of a certain material. They want to use it as pozzolanic material. So they went to the lab, the ministry lab, and the professional test was done. And I believe per sample it was just coming to 500. So 4 sample came to 2,000. It was very professional work. Results. So you are not confined to our lab. You can even look at the new universities. You expect new universities, if they have equipment like TUK or Redan Kemadi, they can have some latest literature. Latest equipment. But again, you have to look at what can you afford within the budget of. Is it $10 or $100? Yeah, 10,000.
$100.
Yeah. So go to the lab. I don't want to give you an answer of yes or no. You know why? Because that will make you lazy, and you have jumped the aspect of what we said about the feasibility of your research. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
So I think we are going to have one more. I think should be the last person who is joined here. I think now it's already too late. I cannot admit anyone else. So we are going to have Dennis as the last one, and then you can pass the gospel to the others, how they are going to improve. But there are people whom topics have not yet convinced, but they are not here. Yeah, tell Jesse, Muridi, and Peter Jero. You tell Mina Gilbert and Gedeiga Dennis, and somebody doing self-healing concrete. I think Sharon Kedi also.
You
Okay.
say you tell us and we are already here.
Who is that?
Dennis.
Oh, Dennis, you are next, eh? Oh,
Yes,
I thought you are not
I'm
here. Dennis,
You
you
are in my title, so I have no problem.
yeah, I had an issue with your work because you are saying performance of fiber reinforced. Why?
Okay.
Why the word fiber? You are going to use FRP, recycled FRP. Oh, you are the next to present, eh?
Yes, I'm next.
Oh, I might not be seeing all the people, but I can see like we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 only. Only five connections, eh?
My partner is not here, Maroon, so
Okay.
present
So
alone.
load your presentation. Let me just rush there. Load your presentation, then. Okay, Dennis seems to have an issue, but I just wanted to hear what he had to say from his presentation, but the quality seems okay from the slide. Eh? And I also wanted to modify slightly the title. But now that he is gone, eh? We don't want to spend much time. So what I would just advise you is go improve, do the improvement. You have seen now what I call a presentation. You already know what I advocate for. So be a good student. Also tell the other guys. Eh? I don't want some shame. Yeah, I'm imagining if we had allowed the other person to present during the final presentation. I mean the Tuesday presentation. I would be feeling very down. Eh? So improve on your work and especially make your problem statement stand out. And let's try to justify why we are doing the topic. Because now there's a stage where the topic needs to be approved. Other people need to see like you are doing something. At undergraduate, you are not expecting so much from you, but again, we want to see like you have been initiated into research. So that's it from my that's all from my end. Unless if there's somebody with a question, we like to close at that point. So any question or comment? Mohammed, you okay?
Yes, sir, we are okay.
Okay, Keith, you okay? Keith and Jude, you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right, all right. Okay, then let's finish. Let's end there. Let's stop there for today. On Monday, I don't expect to see your work, but anyway, you can just come and listen to the presentation by then we can still do it virtually. You'll still be virtual. Let's see whether that guy prefers online or virtual. Then I can share the link or you can listen in. So have a nice weekend and God bless you. That's all. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you, sir. Have a nice weekend too.
You too.